Hi there! Welcome back to American Lingo Academy. I'm Luna, and today we're going to learn 10 super useful phrasal verbs that native English speakers use all the time. These are super practical expressions that you'll hear in everyday conversations, so I'm really excited to share them with you. Let's jump right in and make your English sound more natural and fluent. Number 1, close down. This phrasal verb means to stop operating permanently, usually when we're talking about a business or a shop. When a store or a restaurant closes down, it means it's not just closed for the day, it's finished forever. It's shutting its doors and not opening again. For example, imagine there's a small coffee shop in your neighborhood that you really love. You walk by one day and see a big sign on the door that says they're going out of business. You might tell your friend, "The coffee shop on Main Street is closing down next month because the owner is retiring. It's so sad because they had the best pastries in town." Here's another one. Let's say your coworker is talking about their favorite clothing store at the mall. They might say, "I can't believe that store is closing down. I bought all my work clothes there for years. Now I have to find a new place to shop. That's going to be really inconvenient for me." Number 2, close in. This means that something is getting nearer or approaching, and usually there's a feeling that there's not much space or time left. It can feel a little bit threatening or uncomfortable when something closes in. We often use this to talk about darkness, bad weather, or even people surrounding you. For example, imagine you're hiking in the mountains with some friends and you notice the sun is starting to set. The sky is getting darker and darker around you. You might say to your group, "We need to hurry up and get back to our car because darkness is closing in and we don't have flashlights with us. Let's pick up the pace." Here's another one. Maybe you're watching a scary movie where the main character is trapped in a building. The walls seem to be moving closer and closer together. You might describe the scene by saying, "The walls were closing in on him, and he started to panic because he couldn't find a way out of the room." Number 3, close in on. This is very similar to close in, but we add the word on when we want to say that someone or something is getting closer to a specific target or goal. Police officers often use this phrase when they're chasing a criminal, or you can use it when you're almost finished with a task. For example, let's say you're watching the news and there's a report about a bank robbery investigation. The news reporter might say, "Police are closing in on the suspects after receiving several tips from local residents. They expect to make arrests within the next few days." Here's another one. Imagine your friend is working on a big project at work and they've been stressed about finishing it. They call you and sound much happier. They might tell you, "I'm finally closing in on the deadline for this project. I only have 2 more sections to write and then I'll be completely done. I'm so relieved." Hey, before we continue, if you're enjoying this lesson and finding these phrasal verbs helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. All right, let's keep going. Number 4, close in upon. This is basically the same meaning as close in on, just a little bit more formal and a little bit less common in everyday conversation. It means the same thing, getting closer to something or someone. You might see this in books or more formal writing. For example, let's say you're reading a historical novel about World War II. The author might write something like, "The Allied forces were closing in upon the enemy territory, and victory seemed within reach after years of difficult fighting." Here's another one. Imagine you're listening to a nature documentary about wolves hunting in the wild. The narrator might describe the scene by saying, "The pack of wolves silently closed in upon their prey, moving carefully through the tall grass without making a single sound that might alert the deer." Number 5, close off. When we close off something, we block it or make it so that people cannot enter or use it anymore. We often use this for roads, areas, or even emotions. If you close off a street, you put barriers there so cars can't drive through. For example, imagine there's construction work happening on your street. Big trucks are fixing the road and it's not safe for cars to pass. You might explain to your neighbor, the city closed off our street for the whole weekend because they're repaving it. We have to park on the next block and walk to our houses. Here's another one. Maybe you're talking with a friend about someone you both know who has been through a difficult breakup. Your friend seems distant and doesn't want to talk about their feelings anymore. You might say, ever since their relationship ended, they've really closed off emotionally. They don't share their feelings with anyone now, and I'm worried about them. Number 6. Close on. This phrasal verb has a couple of meanings, but the most common one in everyday English is about finishing a deal or an agreement, especially in real estate when you're buying a house. When you close on a house, it means all the paperwork is signed and the house officially becomes yours. For example, let's say your sister has been house hunting for months and she finally found the perfect home. She's been so excited and nervous about the whole process. She might call you and say, "We're closing on the house next Friday. I can't believe it's actually happening. After we sign all the papers, we'll get the keys and we can start moving in." Here's another one. Imagine your coworker has been talking about buying their first home for a long time. One Monday morning, they come into the office with a huge smile. They might announce to everyone, "Guess what? We closed on our new condo over the weekend." The whole process took forever, but now we're officially homeowners. Number 7. Close out. This means to end something or finish something completely. In business, we often use this to talk about ending sales, finishing accounts, or completing a season. Stores have closeout sales when they want to sell everything and clear out their inventory. For example, imagine you're shopping at your favorite clothing store and you see huge signs everywhere announcing discounts. Everything must go. You might tell your friend who's with you they're having a closeout sale because they're making room for the new spring collection. Let's check it out because everything is at least 50% off. Here's another one. Maybe you work in an office and it's the last day of the financial year. Your manager is rushing around making sure everything is finished properly. They might send an email to the team saying, "We need to close out all our accounts and submit our final reports by 5 o'clock today. Please make sure everything is complete and accurate." Number 8. Close up. This phrasal verb means to shut something completely or to bring things closer together. We also use it when a shop closes at the end of the day, but not permanently like close down. A store closes up every night and opens again the next morning. For example, imagine you work at a small bookstore and it's almost 9 o'clock at night, which is when the store closes. Your manager might say to you, "It's time to close up the shop. Can you please turn off the lights in the back room while I count the money in the register and lock the front door?" Here's another one. Let's say you're visiting your dentist because you have a small gap between your front teeth. The dentist examines your teeth and explains your options. They might tell you, "We can use braces to close up that gap over the next 6 months. Number 9. Cloud over. When the sky clouds over, it means clouds appear and cover the sun. The weather becomes gray and darker, and it usually means rain might be coming soon. We can also use this phrase to describe someone's face or mood when they suddenly become sad or angry. For example, imagine you're having a picnic in the park on what started as a beautiful sunny day. Suddenly you notice the sky is getting darker. You might say to your friends, "Oh no, it's starting to cloud over. Maybe we should pack up our things and head home before it starts raining on us." Here's another one. Let's say you're having a conversation with your teenage daughter about her plans for the summer. Everything seems fine until you mention that she can't go on the trip she wanted. You might notice, her face clouded over when I told her she couldn't go to the concert with her friends. Number 10. Clown about. This is a fun phrasal verb that means to act silly, joke around, or behave in a funny and playful way, usually when you should be doing something more serious. We also say clown around, and it means exactly the same thing. For example, imagine you're a teacher, and some of your students are not paying attention in class. Instead of doing their work, they're making jokes and laughing. You might say to them, "Okay, everyone, that's enough clowning about. We have a lot of material to cover today, so please open your textbooks and focus on the lesson." Here's another one. Maybe you're at work in an office and your coworkers are having too much fun during a meeting. They're telling jokes and not discussing the important topics on the agenda. Your boss might interrupt and say, "I know it's Friday and everyone's in a good mood, but we really need to stop clowning about and finish reviewing these reports before lunch." And that's it for today's lesson. We've covered 10 super useful phrasal verbs that you'll definitely hear in everyday English conversations. Don't forget to like this video if it helped you, and subscribe to American Lingo Academy for daily English lessons.